Oh, I love these transitions.
Yeah, looks good. Hello, Dr. Perin. How you doing?
Oh, not too shabby. How you doing, Pablo?
Doing great. Thank you.
Welcome everybody to the Living Well Show. My name is Dr. Edward Perin. I am a psychologist in the great state of Ohio. Today we are going to be talking about loneliness. It is the winter in the Midwest, in the Northern Hemisphere, and we're seeing a lot of trends. I see it online. I see different age cohorts talking about difficulties with loneliness, and my lovely producer has found a video on the topic. So hopefully we're going to get a good psychologist reacts out of it.
That's right. That's right. Thank you, Dr. Perrin, for introducing the show. Yeah, so I want to remind everybody that we are streaming live on YouTube and on YouTube and X at Dr. Perrin. That is Doctor spelled out. And then Perrin, Perin. You can see the whole tag at in the bottom strip. So follow us on YouTube and X, give us a like, subscribe, share it with your friends.
Most of you
Learn.
guys watch us on X. I actually I looked for us on YouTube through like a guest account through like a zero sign in. I even put in my name, DoctorPerin. I was the 6th video. So even if you Google my name, we are not the top. Do us a favor. Most of you watch this on X. If you are not following us yet on YouTube, please go to YouTube. You don't have to watch it there, but the algorithm needs a lot of help. Like, it is embarrassing to Google my name and not be the first, not even be the first video. So please, if you're not following us yet, go to YouTube at Dr. Perin. You're really helping us out.
That's right. That's right. And share it too. I learned recently that actually sharing the sending it as a DM to someone else, it's the best way to send a good signal to the algorithm. I guess that if they prioritize the sharing over likes or even views. So
And
I don't know.
loneliness is a
I don't know
great
how it works.
topic. Send it to a friend. Send it to your crush. Send it to the person who broke your heart and have them, yell at you. Why are you still texting us? Just send it. Help the algorithm. We appreciate it. Please don't send it to your ex. Run far away.
No, that's not a good idea.
That's terrible
So,
advice.
Dr. Perrin, why are we talking about loneliness?
Well, I don't know if you've heard the term loneliness epidemic, but those two words have been thrown around a lot. I'm seeing them on social media from the under 30s, the new adults, as I affectionately like to refer to them, but also people in middle age, also people in late age. The elderly are struggling with loneliness. Oh, it is a chilly day in Ohio, so you guys get to see Teddy Roosevelt in his frog hoodie.
Well, I'll tell you who's not lonely is
Is this dog? So yeah, I was hoping that we could talk about loneliness, to shed some light on some trends. You found a video. I watched the first 2 minutes of it, and I thought it really, really highlights the issue. I hope it gets into a lot of the nitty gritty, such as the different ages, the different age cohorts. I've been following the loneliness epidemic since it started showing up in Japan. I was blessed to be invited to study at a hospital in Tokyo with a lot of emerging issues and even some unique cultural issues that they deal with, such as a diagnosis called hikikomori, which is a lot like agoraphobia, people who are fear of leaving the home, but it's not fear-based. It's more based off of shame, things that disproportionately impact based off of culture. Well, there were a lot of culture trends that were leading to a loneliness epidemic in Japan. There was an increased digitalization of social networks, of social interaction, et cetera, video games, the internet. It actually became easier for people to kind of go into like isolated lifestyles. And I think it preceded impacting the United States by about 10 or 15 years. But a lot of the stuff that I've been seeing over since the pandemic here in the United States are things that Japan has been tracking. Low rates of marriage, low rates of childbirth, low rates of even dating, people even asking someone out on a date, people elect to withdraw from the dating market, things that we are now starting to see in the United States. So we have models, we have exemplars for other cultures who have maybe tackled similar issues, and we're seeing it here. So I'm hoping
It and is it do the studies signal one particular catalyst or trigger? Is it technology, or is it just a combination of different things?
well, I look at it like a puzzle, so a combination of different things, but some pieces are bigger than others. So it is there are a lot of factors that are involved here, but one of the biggest ones are economic and social status. So one of the things that we saw in Japan, they don't do college the same way you do entrance exams. So like you have to like actually take a test for the university that you want to get into. And if you're raised from like childhood, go to the best school, get the best job, and you don't, you're embarrassed, and you feel like you are less than, or you are inadequate in some way. And by failing to meet that standards that have been imposed upon them, they elect to withdraw from life. So a lot of them is they don't have a good job, they don't have a good education, they don't have good marriage prospects, so they hide. They figure it would be a less burden on their family or on their culture to just not be involved in it, which leads to, and this is a term that they coined, in English it would be NEET, NEET, which is neither in education, employment, or training. So you're just alone in maybe a 1-bedroom apartment, and you're maybe doing online surveys to pay your rent and your internet bill, and that's it.
We have a similar term in Mexico.
What is it?
We call them ninis.
Ninis? N-I-N-I?
N-I-N-I. Yeah. Ni estudia, ni trabaja. Neither working nor studying, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we're seeing it more in the United States. So like these are models. These are things that again, like Japan has been tracking this for a very long time. We're starting to track it. We're starting to see these trends in the United States.
Yeah. Well, I was going to ask you, how did this translate to the West? And what we're seeing here, but
job prospects.
Right.
I don't know if you saw this. There was a news article that said that people with high school graduates are meeting the exact same level of discrimination of people who have like a college degree. Sorry, I should flip that. People who have a college degree are meeting the same level of discrimination as somebody with a high school diploma, which means that the college degree in 2025 is considered kind of worthless and useless as an indicator of their capability of work. So think about that as somebody who has spent 4 years or 5 in a university to get their bachelor's degree, to find out that they're competing for the same jobs as 18-year-olds, and that maybe their prospects are join the military or work at a fast food restaurant with a college degree.
Right.
Which some of us had to do when we graduated college into a recession. But it becomes what's the point? Why work so hard for a life that we're not going to enjoy? And especially if they had been promised. There is sort of the baby boomer dream that you go to college, you get a white collar job, you get a house, white picket fence, 2.5 children, dog, something that was just normal.
Yeah, right.
Well, now the amount of effort to live that lifestyle is out of reach for some people, and so they don't put the effort in. They say, why put in the effort for a life that I'm not going to enjoy? So they elect to withdraw. And this is not just economics. This is also dating. So like how people view them. It's really popular when you meet somebody, like the second question you normally get asked is, what do you do? So that alone is, we're evaluating you. We're judging you based off of what service you provide economically to the world.
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, that's pretty much one of the first things that anyone ever asks you. Oh, what do you do?
Oh yeah. Think about that in the
And a
dating
lot of times the
context.
judgment, and a lot of times their initial impression and their initial judgment of you is
Mhm.
predicated on your answer, right?
Yeah, we're making assumptions about your general level of intelligence, assumptions of your capability, assumptions of choices that you've made in your life.
Right.
And
Right.
again, this translates to a dating context. If you were to go out on a date and say, "Well, I couldn't get into college, I dropped out, I'm working at McDonald's," not very romantic.
Right. Right.
And I mean, you can find love anywhere. I'm not trying to make a point about it, but like in the dating market, like you can summon new dates from the internet. You just swipe. So like the standard for what people are looking for are almost delusional. Like I like only looking for somebody who's 6'4" with a $400,000 a year income. You're not going to find them quickly. Good
Yeah.
luck.
Yeah. 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 Completely unrealistic.
But they go on a date with a perfectly adequate person, but they're saying you're not 6'4" or making $500,000 a year. Goodbye. I'm going to summon someone else from the internet. It
Right.
it
Right.
makes people withdraw. It makes people say,
Right.
I'm
Right.
not going to put in the effort.
Yeah. Well, there's no real connection, right? I mean, you can talk to, you can go on one date every night and still be super lonely, right?
Oh, absolutely. Oh, we see it with the tech crowd. I think out in San Francisco. I actually think I read this about New York, but it's common for like the tech because there's a lot of money and there's a lot of tech out in San Francisco that you schedule dates, multiple dates per day, and it's just a numbers game. If you have a date for lunch and a date for dinner and a date for dessert, you're going through 3 potential prospects a day, and you do that 4 or 5 times a week. You're going through 15 people a week, go through a month, et cetera, et cetera. It's a numbers game.
It's
Eventually
a
you're going to
numbers
get the
game,
person.
right? Yeah, yeah,
It's not romantic.
yeah, yeah,
People then say, well, if you can't afford it, you don't do it, or you just say that's a lot of effort, I don't want to put in that effort.
right.
I'm just gonna Grubhub. I'm just gonna order food
Yeah.
from the internet as opposed to getting a partner and cooking.
And what about and I think this is
Oh,
one of the biggest impetuses as to why we were
sorry, I don't know if we're gonna get
that's
sponsored.
the right
This
Coke.
is my vice. Nice full sugar Mexican bottled Coca-Cola. Mmm,
That's the best. Yeah,
refreshing. Love to
the
see
real
it.
deal.
Loved. Oh, it's the good stuff.
The
Sorry, go
real
ahead.
deal. Yeah, and then just before we get
Sponsor me, Coca-Cola.
I know, right? Well, I'll actually take Polar sponsorship. I think that's a little bit more attainable.
We're not
Um,
picky.
I'm not picky.
Help us
Um,
help us bring more psychology content to the people. Pay us.
exactly, exactly.
Sorry, go ahead.
Before we move on to the video, I also wanted to kind of touch on seasonal loneliness, which is one
Mhm.
of the biggest things that we've been discussing, and that one of the biggest impetus as to why we wanted to talk about this video, because I think it's a very relevant topic, right? And I think
Mhm.
that you and I are very fortunate to have somewhere to go and someone to see and loved ones to take care of, right? But
But
that's
to your
not
point,
necessarily
you
the case
could
for a lot of people.
be surrounded by loved ones and still feel lonely. The
Right.
difficult thing is that it's the winter and it's a holiday season. And that compounds. One, there's a popular we call it seasonal affective disorder, which is people who go through a seasonal depression or a winter depression, but it is very biological. It's organic. It's not like you were traumatized for a kid and now you get depressed when the sun goes away. No, you're depleted. Like the sun, you're not getting that. Your circadian rhythm is messed up, but also our body is sensitive to its environment. Like historically, we're supposed to be really minimizing our effort during the winter months. We should be kind of hermiting. We should have food stored in our food cellar to kind of get us through the winter, but like we should be huddled around a fire and maybe coming out at night to celebrate and party, but like this is an energy conservation mode. But we are expected to work with the same enthusiasm and energy as we are in June or July. It's not going to happen. Sometimes we are operating at 20 and 30%. So even if we're not sad, we might be depressed. Our engine is running a little bit slower than normal. But then it compounds because we have these expectations. We have to buy gifts or we have to travel for a holiday. And if we're already operating at, 40%, we're not bringing our best to these very important situations. So we can start judging, we can start evaluating. Oh no, I'm dragging. Oh no, I'm letting people down. Oh no, nobody likes me. Nobody, etc. So even if you do have places to go, there are a million pieces of this puzzle. Like you can find yourself exhausted, sad, depressed, and isolated. And that's under the best conditions. If you don't, gosh, if you're scrolling social media, if you're alone for the holidays and you're drinking and you're scrolling social media and all of your friends are posting pictures with big smiles on their face with their big families and everyone posting how much fun they had at your big social event, you're going to feel even worse about yourself. And it ends up becoming it's like a snowball effect, because you're already going to be depleted physiologically, but now you're also going to be evaluating your life negatively. But the risk isn't actually in the sustaining of the loneliness during the holiday. It's actually once the sun starts coming up again. It's when the warm weather starts coming up again.
Mm-hmm.
Our battery starts charging a little bit faster, or we feel a little bit less depleted. In that upswing, we are more likely to act on the thoughts that we had during those lonely times. So if we were consumed with thoughts of nobody likes me, I don't even know why I'm still friends with some of these people, maybe I should break up, or God forbid, hurt myself, the risk is actually at that tail end, because you're just spending this long time just depleted, alone, and sometimes in despair.
Mm-hmm.
So the holidays, they're built to pick people up. If we're naturally depressed, if it's natural and normal for humans to be operating at a lower level when it's cold and it's gray and it's wet and it's miserable, we want to put lights up. We want to connect with our loved ones. We want to feast. That is why every culture, every religion, nearly every country has some winter holiday around the solstice. So I'm Christian. We celebrate Christmas, but it's bright colors and it's gift giving, and you come together as a family. Part of that is to fight against a depression. Pick a culture, pick a religion. There is probably a winter holiday which is about picking somebody up. So this isn't this is ancient wisdom. They knew that we needed that. So if you're isolated from even that, you are going through the hardship in the cold winter alone.
Mm-hmm.
I hope I'm making sense, but this is a soapbox that I have, because I actually don't look at seasonal affective disorder as a disorder the way we would look at most mental illnesses. I think the disorder is expecting us to be operating at the same level that we do in June or July.
Right. Yeah. No, I mean, I'm sure everybody can feel it for sure. Even those high functioning, high agency people. I mean, you can't say that you don't, but it gets to you at some point.
They're the ones who are more likely to get that morning sun, even if the morning sun is 8 a.m. And they're the ones who are more likely to go out and get that evening sun, even if the evening sun is at 4 p.m., because they're saying, hey, I need this. I need my body to adjust. I need to go out into the cold. And versus someone like me who puts on his slippers and says, all right, I'm not going anywhere. It snowed outside.
Oh, yeah. It's a cozy time, baby. Let's go.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's great. This is all good. I think we're really setting the stage. Yeah, let's go through this video. We've seen this. We've seen something from this channel before. This is Kurzgesagt. We went through the video on what was
like
that
2
one?
weeks ago.
Yeah. Oh my God.
What was it about?
Why am I blanking on it?
It wasn't loneliness.
Oh, it was on stress. It was on stress.
That's
it
right.
was on the one on stress. Yeah. I love Kurzgesagt. Hands
Yeah,
down one of my best channels. I'm gonna put the link in the band down below for you guys to check it out. So yeah, let's go through this and let's see. I'm interested to hear what you have to say.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, I gotta do the thing. I gotta do the thing. Here we go.
I think Joe Rogan, he has Jamie to do the YouTube stuff. I wouldn't even know where to begin.
Everybody feels lonely from time to time. When we have no one to sit next to at lunch, when we move to a new city, or when nobody has time for us at the weekend. But over the last few decades, this occasional feeling has become chronic for millions. In the UK, 60% of 18 to 34-year-olds say they often feel lonely.
New adults.
In the US, 46% of the entire population feel lonely regularly.
That's
We
high.
are living in the most connected time in human history, and yet an unprecedented number of us feel isolated.
Can I make a note on that? Do you see those guys walking around like that? I see it every time, at least once a day when I'm walking out, when I'm walking my dogs in the neighborhood. For me, dog time, dog walk is my time to disconnect, my time to leave my phone at home
Well,
and take
ideally,
20
you're paying
minutes
attention to your dog.
and your surroundings, right? So,
Right.
but I can't tell you how many times I see just, young people, men and women walking around, absentmindedly walking behind their dog, just totally locked in on this thing, oblivious, and it's like, dude, what are you doing? Like,
It's seeing it at
look
the dinner
around.
table that breaks my heart. I'll see people at a restaurant. I every Tuesday I go to this trivia event, and it's great. And it's super competitive between like the 5 of us that play. But the rest of the bar, there are some of these people, they're at their tables and they're at their phones, and they're sitting across from another person who's on their cell phone. Like, I want to walk up to their table and just gently pick them up and put the phones down.
Oh
I don't
my
know them. It would be
goodness.
weird.
Yeah. Anyway, I just like
Well,
that image of, yeah.
I think the statement is profound, and
Yeah.
they're correct. We are in the most connected era. These new adults, the 34 and under, are the most connected generation in history, and yet they have the highest rates of social anxiety, and actual
Unreal.
in-person interaction is distressing.
Right.
And I think that is worth noting, because we are. I don't know what AI is going to do. It's not social. It's kind of asocial. It's kind of parasocial.
Parasocial, yeah.
But I think it's going to change further how we relate to each other. But if social media or globalization or the internet on cell phones has made us the most connected, and that's raised our anxiety,
Yeah.
I'm curious what the next jump in technology is going to do.
We'll see. All right. Continuing.
Being lonely and being alone are not the same thing. You can be filled with bliss by yourself and hate every second surrounded by friends. Loneliness is a purely subjective, individual experience. If you feel lonely, you are lonely. A common stereotype is that loneliness only happens to people who don't know how to talk to people or how to behave around others. But population-based studies have shown that social skills make practically no difference for adults when it comes to social connections. Loneliness can affect everybody. Money, fame, power.
Do you mind if I jump in for a second?
Yeah, let's do it.
There's an autistic point around here, because you've probably heard the term masking, like autistic masking. That's not something that's exclusive to people with autism. In fact, I think it's one of the reasons why some people who don't have autism, or there's a more accurate diagnosis, are diagnosed with autism. And it often comes from that anxiety, that belief that we're not going to make authentic connections with somebody. They're going to judge us, evaluate us, or abandon us. They're going to judge us as inadequate, or we're not going to be able to do anything. We're going to say something stupid. Everyone's going to laugh at us, and we're going to be embarrassed, right? And so we create kind of a false version of ourselves. He said that even having social skills doesn't make a difference here. So, having social skills can increase your chances of meeting and developing some of these friendships. But very often what people end up doing, manners is a really good example for this. Manners isn't always an authentic connection to another person. So you have a hospitality background. If you think of like front of the house in a restaurant, like servers, like they're very polite. Like that politeness allows them to navigate nearly any social situation within the parameters of a restaurant. They're not friends. They're not connecting. I mean, maybe regulars, you develop a relationship with somebody, but like it is in many ways, it's not, in most ways, it's not an authentic connection with another human being, because that person can turn and, you know, chew their head off, and they have to be able to keep smiling and go, let me fix that for you, sir or madam, and, you know, turn around, right? So that if you imagine going to a party and acting like a waiter, and it's everybody, you know, friends, family, coworkers, colleagues, peers, and you leave and you've just acted like a waiter that entire time, what are the chances you're going to feel like you made genuine, authentic connections with your community? None. You're probably going to walk away feeling very lonely, even if you're like, everyone laughed at my jokes, I'm more miserable than ever. One of the existentialists wrote on that regard, like, I was at a party, I was very witty, I'm home, and now I'm more miserable than ever. I'm horribly butchering this because I can't remember it, but I think it's performative. It's masking. It's not an authentic, genuine connection with other people, where we can let our guard down, where we can be vulnerable, or we can say, I have a zit on my face and I crapped my pants, and people are gonna love us anyway. That was an extreme example, but
well, I think that's definitely touching on something that I'm very familiar with, because it goes hand in hand with my job. My current job is very social. And, you know, for example, tonight I am judging a cocktail competition later in the evening.
Yeah, that's right.
And, you know, but a lot of times would be going to a dinner. It would be going to whatever function sponsored by a brand, and you have dozens of people, all industry colleagues, and you're there and you're like, hey, you know, and you're gregarious and you're talking, you're, you know,
And there's alcohol,
shooting the shit.
There's an abundance of spirits.
And a lot of times, most of the times, for almost everybody in that room, it's all here. It's all top level. It's all superficial, you know, and it's like, it's completely different interaction. It's always being on, it's being on hospitality mode, right? You cannot let your guard down in these situations. You have to always be on top of it. And that can be pretty isolating, right? Because you don't feel like, you know, I would say that the majority of these events, I can confidently say I don't walk out with a meaningful interaction with someone and be like, wow, that really contributed something to me. You know, it was definitely, you know, probably
I feel
career.
like I know that person on a deeper level now.
Yeah.
I want to like have them be in my life now.
Yeah, certainly career steps forward, right? Networking, making connections, but something that is like truly meaningful. And I think for people that are like that, you know, like what the video is saying, celebrities, people that are known for their power, their beauty, their talent, whatever, that are surrounded by a bunch of other people, doesn't necessarily mean that they are fulfilled and they feel like they have any meaningful connection. So they can still be very lonely.
I think the celebrity example is choice here, because like the whole Diddy party phenomenon, I'm gonna kind of try to keep this PG as much as possible, but like, if you're PR trained and everywhere you go there's a camera and you have to, you know, go through the steps, you can't badmouth your coworkers, you can't speak ill of a director, you have to like sidestep questions about relationships because, you know, the studio, you have contracts, right? I think like Disney has such a big morality clause that like you have to be very careful about what you even post on social media, or else you will lose contracts. Like you won't be able to work for them anymore. So then you create these environments where they take the cameras away and you can be vulnerable and everyone's being weird. How refreshing and attractive something like that might be. Because there requires that mutual vulnerability for an authentic connection. So like if you go to, you know, big networking events, or even if it's like a maybe like one step closer, like closer to the inner circle than a networking event, like, you know, these people, you work with these people, and there's alcohol flowing and everyone's drinking except that one person who's staying sober. suddenly everyone's more guarded because, well, if that person's staying sober, I can't let my guard down a little bit.
Sure.
But if
Yeah.
everybody drinks and everybody's a little silly and everybody's a little stupid, there's sort of that mutuality that appears. So I picked on Japan earlier. Japan actually covers this with their work culture, because if the boss, wants to go to happy hour, you can't say no. So the whole office.
Oh
goes
yeah,
happy
yeah,
hour.
yeah. Ooh.
But also every time the boss drinks, you drink. So if you see your boss raise your glass, you have to raise your glass. Suffice to say, a lot of people get drunk in that work environment, but they actually create like the space for that like, oh, that was just the drinking. So like if you throw up on your boss, or if you give your boss the one finger salute, or if you tell your boss that they have a hot, attractive daughter or something, in America, you'd be fired. You're not going to come back to work. But in Japan, they'd be like, hey, that was just the alcohol. How are you with those TPS reports? Because they that mutual vulnerability is group cohesion. And I think they're aware that the purpose of this isn't so the boss can be drunk or so the boss can pretend that they have friends. It's to facilitate group cohesion. And I think that guard goes up when you're trying to protect your reputation or what you imagine is appropriate social behavior. This is a very long tangent, but I really
no, it's all very relevant.
I agree.
All right, let's go.
Beauty, social skills, a great personality, nothing can protect you against loneliness because it's part of your biology. Loneliness is a bodily function, like hunger. Hunger makes you pay attention to your physical needs. Loneliness makes you pay attention to your social needs. Your body cares about your social needs because millions of years ago it was a great indicator of how likely you were to survive. Natural selection rewarded our ancestors for collaboration and for forming connections with each other. Our brains grew and became more and more fine-tuned to recognize what others thought and felt and to form and sustain social bonds. Being social became part of our biology. You were born into groups of 50 to 150 people, which you usually stayed with for the rest of your life. Getting enough calories, staying safe and warm, or caring for offspring was practically impossible alone. Being together meant survival. Being alone meant death. So it was crucial that you got along with others. For your ancestors, the most dangerous threat to survival was not being eaten by a lion, but not getting the social vibe of your group and being excluded. To avoid that, your body came up with social pain. Pain of this kind is
shame.
Evolutionary.
What's that?
Shame.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Guilt and shame are both social emotions. They don't exist. They are manufactured. They are secondary emotions. They are manufactured based off of not meeting a standard or an expectation. Guilt for not setting an expectation or a standard we made for ourselves. Shame not meeting an expectation or a standard somebody else has put for us. They do not exist in the absence of relationship. But they are social.
I've never thought about
social
it like
emotions.
That. Yeah. Cool. Awesome. Thank you.
Adaptation to rejection.
It's
a sort of early warning system
social
to make
cohesion.
Sure you stop behaving.
It's a useful emotion. I know it's weird to say that, but guilt and shame make us less likely to rape, murder, and steal.
Oh yeah. Of course. I mean, they are absolutely crucial.
Yeah.
That would isolate you. Your ancestors who experienced rejection as more painful were more likely to change their behavior when they got rejected and thus stayed in the tribe, while those who did not got kicked out and most likely died. That's why rejections hurt, and even more so, why loneliness is so painful. These mechanisms for keeping us connected worked great for most of our history until humans began building a new world for themselves. The loneliness epidemic we see today really only started in the late Renaissance. Western culture began to focus on the individual. Intellectuals moved away from the collectivism of the Middle Ages, while the young Protestant theology stressed individual responsibility. This trend accelerated during the Industrial Revolution. People left
That's
their
the point I wanted to make. If we look evolution from an evolutionary perspective, the Industrial Revolution was just like 5 minutes ago. Like
Oh, yeah.
most of our life was, he made a point. He gave a figure between 50 and 150, kind of the tribal zone. The Industrial Revolution made it. The other comments about you had to forage for food, you need to get enough calories to to reach sexual maturity. That used to be difficult until the Industrial Revolution. That was the big change. It suddenly became very easy to manufacture both materials for building and infrastructure, but also the cultivation and distribution of food. So the cultivation and distribution of food advancements from the Industrial Revolution suddenly made it very easy for us to ingest enough calories to reach sexual maturity. Suddenly it became easy. And it's not so much that we started living in cities. We've been living in cities since the ancient era. It's really that abundance in the manufacture and distribution of food that has led to, oh, well, we don't have, it's less important to be alienated from our culture. It's less important to be alienated from our societies. We actually saw an increase in migration. This was compounded within our lifetimes. The term is globalization, with the internet, with communications, the global supply chain. Like, it is now so easy to have enough calories to reach sexual maturity. You can go through McDonald's and go to the dollar menu. Now, I'm not saying it's sufficient to like be satisfied, but it's enough to survive. It's enough to meet and make enough calories to, have your body to continue to operate for a day.
Right, right. Also, what I find interesting is that he says that the loneliness epidemic, as we know it today, started since the Renaissance period. Has that been a concept that has been discussed for?
Well, I have to think about that. I've always put my benchmark with the Industrial Revolution, but I imagine that I would say that there was a large gap between the socioeconomic status of people in the Renaissance. So when the people who we think about, like Leonardo da Vinci or the Medici family, who is it? The Borgias, the Cesare Borgia, all of that. Like, these are the like most powerful families who have like an abundance of wealth and influence. Like, they're building cathedrals, they're building they're essentially financing the construction of most of these city states. We're not learning about like Carl or Giuseppe, like the normal dude who probably is still requiring to work within their community to pool their resources together to live and to work and to operate. So I'm wondering if he's talking about like the nobles, or at least the people whose writings survive to this day, like
right, whose
Leonardo da
records,
Vinci. Like,
whose
I have the freedom to invent all day.
Right,
I'm lonely and bored. I'm gonna maybe bang my
Right.
assistant.
Interesting.
Sorry, Leonardo.
I'm sure he'll forgive you. All right.
villages and fields to enter factories. Communities that had existed for hundreds of years began to dissolve, while cities grew. As our world rapidly became modern, this trend sped up more and more. Today, we move vast distances for new jobs, love and education, and leave our social net behind. We meet fewer people in person, and we meet them less often than in the past. In the US, the mean number of close friends dropped from 3 in 1985 to 2 in 2011. Most people stumble into chronic loneliness by accident.
5 is a great number.
And become
I sometimes hear people who are very gregarious. They have, big social networks, and they'll say, "Oh yeah, I have hundreds of friends." You do not have hundreds of friends. You have hundreds of people that you interact with and have positive interactions with, but you probably have about 5 friends.
Mm-hmm.
That is a high number, 5. So when he said 3 and 2, those are low numbers, but 5 is a very high number by contrast. Like people you can trust, people you can be vulnerable with, people who would help you move, people who you will help move. Like there are a lot of people that you can be chums and pals with, but this kind of sorry, I don't think my camera's zoomed in right.
I think it's focusing on your hand as you move it closer.
Yeah, it's this deeper knowing of some of people. Like we are not wired to have more than like 5 inner circle friends.
Yeah. Well, just the emotional investment, right? And the time, especially now,
vulnerability.
I'm sure he's going to touch up on this, but the time commitment that it takes to nurture these relationships.
Mm-hmm.
Busy with work, university, romance, kids, and Netflix. There's just not enough
And
time.
Netflix.
The most convenient and easy thing to sacrifice is time with friends. Until you wake up one day and realize that you feel isolated, that you yearn for close relationships. But it's hard to find close connections as adults, and so loneliness can become chronic. While humans feel pretty great about things like iPhones and spaceships, our bodies and minds are fundamentally the same they were 50,000 years ago. We are still biologically fine-tuned to being with each other.
Oh, this is why I said that
Large
the
scale.
Industrial Revolution was 5 minutes ago. Like if you look at evolution and the development of traits over time, like it is so slow. It is barely perceptible even within our own lifetime. Like we can only think, you could probably remember your grandparents and how different they are from you, like 3 generations.
Yeah.
The Industrial Revolution was 5 minutes ago. Our brain and our emotional lives and our central nervous system have not had enough time to evolve to catch up with how easy it is to move, travel, eat, live in comparison to us being hunters and gatherers and just early, early agrarian stuff. There's another point that he made that I wanted to touch, but I'm blanking on it. My memory is of a goldfish sometimes.
Do you wanna scroll back a little
Yeah,
bit?
could you rewind it about 30 seconds?
We are still biologically fine-tuned to being with each other.
A little
That
bit
you
more.
feel isolated.
Oh yes.
that
Okay,
you
so
yearn.
this is something that now in
sacrifice.
well, it's the world gets smaller, and
Right.
and this is a result of I'll use the word trauma broadly, not just PTSD, but PTSD is a really good example of this. It can also be social rejection, like a divorce or just like a really, really terrible breakup after a long-term relationship. When people become traumatized, they retreat to comfort. They start avoiding reminders, either external or internal reminders of their pain. So if this were social rejections, if this were like going to a party or striking out, talking to the cutest girl at the bar, you go home, you isolate, and you get a sigh of relief because you're comfortable, you're safe, it's where all of your things are. And you go, you know what? I don't want to risk, getting my heart broken again, or I don't want to go to a party and get rejected, or, I have to get dressed, I have to drive over there. I could just order food, watch Netflix, right?
Too easy.
Your world slowly gets smaller. And this is like how it's like the Industrial Revolution being 5 minutes ago. It's very comfortable until it isn't. It's like boiling a frog in water, like 1 degree at a time. Your world gets
Right.
smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. Now, at this time, you're not noticing it because it's comfortable. It's reinforcing, it's safe, and you're looking around and you're like, I've built my home. Oh man, I got my bathroom remodeled. I bought all of my favorite food. I have an Amazon subscription for like my coffee beans, right? Your world gets smaller and you blink and decades have passed. You're 50, you're 60, you're 70 years old, and you have not cultivated any of these relationships. that loneliness seeps in very slowly, but by the time it hits you, sometimes under this longitudinal range, it's a lot harder to redirect. It's a lot harder to go out there, and you're starting to it's like starting to make to develop old friends right away, like from the beginning. Like it takes a long time to have old
the
friends.
older you get, 100%.
Yeah. So this is the risk, is that it's comfortable. Like we go, oh man, I feel so good isolated in my own home where I'm very comfortable and safe and have all of my things. We don't notice our world getting smaller until it is,
Right.
until it's quite uncomfortable.
Here we go.
Large-scale studies have shown that the stress that comes from chronic loneliness is among the most unhealthy things we can experience as humans.
No, it kills people.
It makes you age quicker. It makes cancer deadlier, Alzheimer's advance faster, your immune system's weaker. Loneliness is twice as deadly as obesity and as deadly as smoking a pack of cigarettes a day. The most dangerous thing about it is that once it becomes chronic, it can become self-sustaining. Physical and social pain use common mechanisms in your brain. Both feel like a threat, and so social pain leads to immediate and defensive behavior when it's inflicted on you. When loneliness becomes chronic, your brain goes into self-preservation mode. It starts to see danger and hostility everywhere. But that's not all. Some studies found that when you're lonely,
I want
your
to
brain...
jump on that because I mentioned masking, and I want to broaden this beyond autistic masking, but I want to include people who may or may not have autism but are really connected with that term. When you are presenting a false self to the world and you are not making authentic connections to others, you are going to walk away not feeling connected. In fact, the more you do that, the more you feel like you have to perform, or else you will meet rejection, or else you will not be loved and accepted for who you are. So your perception of the world is that it becomes increasingly more persecutory, that your belief, like a delusion that the world is persecutory, reinforces the masking, reinforces the false self. You actually start doubling down or becoming a little bit more rigid in that. So that graphic showed someone in a plate mail armor, and I think that's really what it represents. It represents this idea where the world suddenly feels more threatening. If they were to know who I actually was, they would reject me, or they would shame me, or they would, criticize me. So I have to maintain, I have to pretend. I have to pretend like everything's fine, or I have to pretend like, I'm a movie star who gets along with everyone in the industry.
Yeah.
It's that snowball effect. It gets worse the more you do it.
It starts to see danger and hostility everywhere.
Persecution.
But that's not all. Some studies found that when you're lonely, your brain is much more receptive and alert to social signals, while at the same time, it gets worse at interpreting them correctly.
Interpreting them, yeah.
You pay more attention to others, but you understand them less. The part of your brain that recognizes faces
you
gets
perceive
out of
threat
tune
at a higher
and
rate.
becomes more likely to categorize neutral faces as hostile, which makes it distrustful of others.
So I actually did that
Loneliness makes you
research before my doctorate. I worked in a lab, and we would do that test where we would only show this much of a face, and we would have them like at, different emotions, but we would just show this part of the face, and we would say, what emotion are they feeling? And when you get to a certain degree of this, where your interpretation becomes miscalibrated, one of the most common themes that we saw is that they were more likely to assume anger in other emotions that weren't positive. So like sadness and fear. So if somebody saw fear, they might interpret that as anger. So if they were being intimidating and they scared somebody and they looked at them and they said that they were angry, oh, they're mad at me, they think I'm an asshole. Well, fuck them. And then we can double down on it and become even more aggressive and even more intimidating. But it's to that point, like we misread misread the threat, or we misread the emotional underpinnings of facial expressions, where a lot of communication is in the face.
Yeah, I mean that almost sounds instinctive, right? That it comes from
Well, it's protective.
Right.
It's self-protective, because they are perceiving threat. In fact, they are looking for it. They are waiting for, is this dangerous? Is this dangerous? Is that his eyebrow twitched? Is that an increased threat for me?
Right.
But because they're looking for it, they are more likely to interpret. The way people who've had really gifted lives are going to naturally assume that everybody is trustworthy and friendly.
Right.
Equally inaccurate.
All right, let's do it.
Assume the worst about others' intentions towards you. Because of this perceived hostile world, you can become more self-centered to protect yourself, which can make you appear more cold, unfriendly, and socially awkward than you really are.
Oh, I'm single because I have high standards. The reason I'm still single is because
if loneliness has become a strong presence in your life, the first thing you can do is to try to recognize the vicious cycle you may be trapped in. It usually goes something like this. An initial feeling of isolation leads to feelings of tension and sadness, which makes you focus your attention selectively on negative interactions with others. This makes your thoughts about yourself and others more negative, which then changes your behavior. You begin to avoid social interaction, which leads to more feelings of isolation. This cycle becomes more severe and harder to escape each time.
Yep, over time.
Loneliness makes you sit far away from others in class, not answer the phone when friends call, decline invitations until the invitations stop. Each and every one of us has a story about ourselves, and if your story becomes that people exclude you, others pick up on that. And so the outside world can become the way you feel about it. This is often a slow creeping process that takes years and can end in depression and a mental state that prevents connections even if you yearn for them. The first thing you can do to escape it is to accept that loneliness is a totally normal feeling and nothing to be ashamed of. Literally everybody feels lonely at some point in their life. It's a universal human experience. You can't eliminate or ignore a feeling until it goes away magically, but you can accept that you feel it and get rid of its cause. You can self-examine what you focus your attention.
Its cause is probably deeply ingrained into your earliest relationships, and I'm talking about like infant level, like mom and dad, like what you did when you were hungry but didn't know how to say, "Mom, I need milk." Or, it's nap time, or I don't want to be put down for nap time. A lot of times these feelings come from how we learn to survive our childhood experiences, like how we learn to make bids for connection before our brains fully developed. So we're adults, we know better intellectually, but our heart still remembers some of the ways that we yearned for connection. And maybe it's a little stereotyped, but no, the cause is often our early experiences.
Well, here's where therapy comes into play, right?
Well, yes, I'm a little biased, because if it says get to the root of it, it's not, oh, I've been isolating for the past 6 months. It's probably,
why
this
have you been
pervasive pattern that I have had since childhood, and gosh darn it, I'm sick and tired of it. I want more than this.
Yeah.
Attention on and check if you are selectively concentrating on negative things. Was this interaction with a colleague really negative? Or was it really neutral or even positive? What was the actual content of an interaction? What did the other person say? And did they say something bad, or did you add extra meaning to their words? Maybe another person was not really reacting negatively, but just short on time.
Well, I think this kind of implies that, or this would suggest that you would have the self-awareness or the wherewithal to know where the cause is, right? And what is the points that are ticking you off. But I don't know how many people actually have that sensitivity to know, oh, well, I probably feel this way because I misinterpreted that. That seems like sometimes
that comes from wisdom.
ask a lot.
that comes from wisdom. You usually see that as like a middle age, late age, like, you know what, people don't care and that's okay. But when we're young, people don't care and that's threatening. And I even want to go into this breakdown between just being neurotic, at least acknowledging it. So like there's a great account I follow on Substack, Basic Anxious Bitch. Great content. And what I love about it is
Great content.
Oh gosh. What I love about it is that she's aware of how ridiculous the social anxiety is, and it comes through in the stream of consciousness in her writing. But to me, that's that neurotic level. It's like, oh my gosh, this is terrible, but it's fine. This is the most normal interaction in the world. Why are my alarms going off when this is just like Thursday? I'm just buying coffee at the place I always buy coffee at, right? But it highlights this because we can know ourselves well enough to know that we're suffering or that we're getting this anxiety or we're feeling lonely. But we don't know ourselves well enough to be going, oh, it's because, I feel inadequate, or it's because when I was, 13, my middle school girlfriend like pantsed me in front of like the whole class and now I feel blah, 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 right? But it often does come back to, I felt a certain way, I learned to cope with it in this way, and I've just been perpetuating that in my entire life. Oh, of course, part of this is my own fault. Mm-hmm. And by understanding that, by finding those origins and making them more conscious, we can work through it. And then we're less likely to avoid, or we're less likely to avoid as a reflex, because we have opportunities to try something different. If we go, oh, hey, this is what I always do, maybe I'm going to try this instead. But until you know it, until you actually have that flag, oh, this is what I do, you're going to stereotype. You're going to do the same thing and expect a different result.
Right.
A long-winded way to say we don't actually know ourselves very well.
Exactly. Continuing.
Then there are your thoughts about the world. Are you assuming the worst about others' intentions? Do you enter a social situation and have already decided how it will go? Do you assume others don't want you around? Are you trying to avoid being hurt and not risking opening up? And if so, can you try to give others the benefit of the doubt? Can you just assume that they're not against you? Can you risk being open and vulnerable again?
Not without data points.
And lastly, your behavior. Are you avoiding opportunities to be around others? Are you looking for excuses to decline invitations? Or are you pushing others away preemptively to protect yourself? Are you acting as if you're getting attacked? Are you really looking for new connections, or have you become complacent with your situation? Of course, every person and situation is unique and different, and just introspection alone might not be enough. If you feel unable to solve your situation by yourself,
if you're not able to do it by yourself, get help. But no, it's not just, how do I phrase this? You need the data points. So like he asked all of these really good questions. Oh, maybe you're self-isolating. Oh, maybe you're blah, 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 blah. Yes. Yeah, of course you're doing all of that. But like, what do we do about it? Because if I go to a party, I'm going to feel isolated or uninvolved, or maybe I think they just invited me here because they're supposed to. They don't actually like me. Whatever might be going on. You need the data points, because you're going to go to that party thinking that they don't like you. They're going to go to that party thinking you're going to embarrass yourself, and you have to have a good time. You have to have them say, we're really glad that you came out, come back again, because you walk away scratching your head going, I mean, that's what should have happened, but why did I really expect in my mind that it was going to be hell? Mm-hmm. It's that 2-foot drop from just intellectually knowing it to feeling it, because you can tell somebody, I pick on Walmart a lot. I work with a lot of veterans with PTSD, and Walmart's not their favorite location to go to. So like, you actually have to go to Walmart and your alarm your system is going to go off. It's going to be like danger, too many people, or too big crowds, or can't escape in the checkout lane. All the things that trigger them.
Too many weirdos.
They have a lot of weird. Walmart.com or peopleofwalmart.com. They have to actually go in there and tell themselves, I'm safe. Like, these weirdos aren't going to get up from their electric shopping carts and fight me. I could run faster than they can, right? You have to sit there and tell yourself, I'm safe, I'm fine, this is fine. You have to get your pack of gum and you have to leave and, not get attacked. But your alarm system is going to be going off during all of this time. It's not a matter of like, oh, I never knew that Walmart was mostly safe. You actually have to get the data points. You have to put yourself into these uncomfortable positions. You have to talk to the cutest girl at the bar. You have to go to house parties and introduce yourself to 100 people. You have to sweat, and you have to be awkward, and you have to tell bad jokes to know that you can survive them.
Yeah.
But you need the data points.
It's just assuming or making or just throwing it out that it's not going to work. That's not the way to do it.
Well, otherwise it's just advice. Oh, hey, just don't feel that bad. Oh no, you're loved.
Have you tried not feeling lonely?
No, man, we want you here. That should be enough, right? No, that's not enough. You need the data points.
Please try to reach out and get professional help. It's not a sign of weakness, but of courage. However we look at loneliness as a purely individual problem that needs solving to create more personal happiness, or as a public health crisis, it is something that deserves more attention. Humans have built a world that's nothing short of amazing, and yet none of the shiny things we've made is able to satisfy or substitute our fundamental biological need for connection. Most animals get what they need from their physical surroundings. We get what we need from each other. And we need to build our artificial human world based on that.
Do you mind if we just stop
we'd like
here?
to tell you,
Because we only have about 5 minutes left, and I think that this is...
I think that's where the video ends anyway.
Oh, well then maybe I'll just shut up and we'll watch the end of it.
No. Wait, what is this?
a story about a Kurzgesagt video that took us over 1,000 hours to create.
Oh, well, that's the video. That's it.
Oh, that is it? They're just doing an ad for something else?
Yeah, for themselves, which is great. Everybody should watch it. It's great.
Yeah, they're awesome. I think this was a really great video, and I think it highlights a lot of the important things to know about loneliness. One, it is physiological. There is a very big physiological element of this. We did research with babies, with monkeys. We would put them into a cage with a cloth version of a mother monkey and a wire version of mother monkey, and the ones that were put in the cold the ones that were put in the cold the cold wire monkey, they died. They did not, they perished. You need to be in relationship with someone to feel fulfilled. Like it's ingrained in it. We're social animals. One of the funniest things that I hear in the circles of evolutionary psychology is around other social animals, like wolves and killer whales, for example. They are other social animals, a lot like humans. Weirdly enough, they don't attack humans in as high regularity as you think they would as pack animals. And I think it's because the theory is because they recognize humans as like them, because they would get revenge. So don't mess with them. They will send packs of humans after us if for revenge if we attack them. Like, there are other animals that we can look at, like that are kind of like this, that we're porous, we're relationally porous. If we are isolated, we will feel the psychic equivalent of physical pain. And I don't think that he mentioned that part, but it is virtually indistinguishable.
No, I think he did. I think he did at the beginning of
did he?
One of the early parts of the video. But I mean, I think that it's important to highlight that.
Yeah, we hurt. It doesn't take much. and again, we don't need to have a best friend. We don't need to be married and have children, although that's a great way to have an inner circle. It's that we need to be able to make authentic contact with others, and that can be a complete stranger. I know small talk is kind of going to the wayside, and a lot of people kind of go, oh, what's the blah 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 small talk. But if you sit down at like a train station and you have a pleasant demeanor and you are setting and you're managing your expectations and you're just saying hey, and you're having an authentic connection. Maybe you didn't get sleep last night. You're like, oh, I just didn't get a lot of sleep last night. We feel engaged by that because it is authentic. We feel loved and accepted for who we are at appropriate levels. It doesn't take much. I don't know. I want to inspire people who may feel like they have to perform to fit in. Now, I understand if it's professional, if it's your job, perform. But if you feel like you have to perform everywhere in all relationships, in all contexts, I want to challenge that. Take that mask off. Be a little bit more vulnerable. Be mutually vulnerable. If someone's vulnerable around you, reciprocate that vulnerability. Get those data points. I feel like if you understand that there are aspects in the world that can make you feel less lonely, when you take that mask off, you are going to not just understand why, but feel it. You're gonna go, oh, this is why I don't perform. This is why I don't fake it. I don't know. I hope I'm making sense, but
yeah.
More than just being surrounded by people, make sure that it is as true, authentic, and appropriately vulnerable. Don't trauma dump on strangers. They don't like that. But yeah.
So just as a closing remark, what would you say to the listeners now as an advice, if I take home this piece of advice right now for the holidays, people are feeling lonely, what can we do to maybe get through it easier?
If people aren't reaching out to you, you reach out to them. You get to keep all of the love that you generate for others. If you check in on your homies, if you check in on your loved ones, just, hey, how you doing? Happy holidays. I love you.
Yeah. Sometimes it's all it takes.
Personal. Sometimes, hey, I hate to say this, but sometimes you have to be the one to make the move. It's not personal. I know it's a two-way street, but life gets in the way, and most of the time it's not personal. It's they're distracted. They have to buy their own Christmas gifts. They have children. So just reach out. Check on your home.
There you go. There you go.
Well, I think this is a good time as any to wrap up. Thank you all for coming here to talk about psychology and psychotherapy. Pablo, thank you for finding that video. It's very apropos.
Yes, of course. Well, thanks for bringing in all the knowledge. Thank you, everybody that tuned in tonight. Remember that we will be here around the same time next week, Monday, 7:15 Eastern, 6:15 Central. Going live on YouTube and X at Dr. Perin. If you're watching this in the future, give us a like, hit the subscribe button, let us a comment in the comment section below, and yeah, let us know what you think. Let us know other topics that you want us to cover. If you have any videos that you want Dr. Perin's opinion on, send us those too as well.
Yeah, let's create a place for people to just make submissions, and then we'll just watch them.
Yeah.
Just as a reminder, if you're watching this on X, please follow us on YouTube at Dr. Perin. Same one. The algorithm does not love me yet, so follow me. Give us a boost.
Awesome.
We'll get there, but yeah.
Thanks, Dr. Perin.
Thank you.